everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Motivate with Coach Camp. I, of course, am your host, Coach Camp, and we are down here in, you guessed it, those amazing studios of SRP with Mr. Derek Michaud. All right, folks, my guest this week is somebody that if you are from the DeSoto County area, you're going to know him. But then also, there's a by chance that if you are from the Midwest or you're from the extreme north, you also know this gentleman. He's been all over the place. He's in media. He does journalism. He does writing. He covers sports, athletic teams. And of course, I am being a Coach Camp. You know that I love to talk about sports. So I thought this would be a great opportunity to bring someone in, have some fun conversations, learn a little bit about him, but then also, hopefully, drop a little nugget of awesomeness to you guys out there that might be thinking to yourselves, I've always liked sports. I've always liked journalism. Maybe I want to get into it. How did he do it? What were some of the things I should look for? So that's what this is all about. We want to be able to be informative, inspirational, and of course, always motivational. It's in my name. Hey, what am I going to say? So before we jump into our conversation with my friend, Mr. Bob Bakeen from Minnesota, I'm going to ask you guys to stick around for a quick minute because we're going to hear from my sponsors. Hello, everybody. I just wanted to have a quick second to let you guys know how much it means to me that you are my sponsor. SRP Studios, The Real Hernando, The Rhythm Section, Hardwick, Heating, Cooling, and Air Quality, Estes, Grading, Hodge Homes, Adair, Honey Farm, Miss Hippie Eats, Phones R Us, Ross, Sod Farms and Landscaping, Ivy Rain, Women's Clinic, Tonic POS by Tyler Young, and Coffee Central. Thank you guys so much for being a sponsor. If you'd like to be a sponsor, go to my website now, motivatecoachcamp.com, and click on the button. Thank you. Welcome back, folks. Here we are, and today's guest is Mr. Bob Bakeen. Am I saying that right?
You are. Congratulations. Sometimes I think you're one of the few who actually got it right there.
I practiced this all morning long. I'm not going to lie to you. Little fun fact. So my partner here, Derek, his last name is Michaud, is how you say it. And for a whole year, I called him Michow. And he finally, after a year, he's like, you're saying it wrong. We had 12 months we could have fixed this. He waited a whole 12 months. Anyways, so we're starting off on the right foot. So, Bob, let's just start with this. I gave a little teaser. You're into media, sports, announcing, etc. Let's just give the audience a little snippet of where did Bob come from?
Farm boy in Minnesota. Farm boy and farming did not fit very well together.
What kind of farming?
Small grains and some milking cows and things like that. Did spend a little time, putting hay up on the rack, and getting it into the barn, that kind of thing.
Chunking hay bales is no joke.
No. So we did that, and But northwest Minnesota is where I'm from originally. Okay. Northwest corner of the state. And from there, I just spent a lot of time listening to radio. I'd be in the car listening to the car radio, might have put the battery down to nothing, a time or two.
So you're talking about the car sitting still and you're out there listening to it.
And I'm listening to the radio.
I got you.
And pretending and wondering what it would be like to be the guy behind the microphone.
How old were you when that happened?
10, 11, 12, 13. I think I mentioned at one time visiting my aunt and uncle in Bloomington, Minneapolis, St. Paul suburb. We'd spent a week down there. One day I was in a bedroom just kind of messing around, playing around. And my cousins caught me with a broomstick for a microphone, an old 45 record player, and a newspaper in front of me. And here I am being the DJ and the newscaster making up my own radio show.
Wow.
That's
interesting. People do emulate, or I say people, but a lot of kids will emulate the thing that they are drawn to and fascinated by. And you were fascinated by commentating and broadcasting at an early age.
Yep. Sadly, my wife had to endure the fact that we visited one of my favorite radio stations in Winnipeg, Manitoba, CKY 58, and during our honeymoon.
Are you serious?
This is our honeymoon, and we are driving up through Northwest Ontario and then to Winnipeg, spent a few days up there. And one of the things that I wanted to do was to take a tour of CKY, KY58. And sure enough, she kind of put up with me. She must have loved me enough at that time.
At this point, she had to know what she had signed up for, right?
Yeah. So anyway, graduated from high school. Our high school actually had its own kind of in-building radio program.
Kind of of like what they do now. They have like TV1 or whatever in the high schools.
But remember, this is 1970, 1971.
Yeah, definitely not as advanced.
This is, and plus, wasn't that common. It wasn't that common, of course.
Sure.
And for a small high school in Northwest Minnesota, too. But graduated from high school. My family is 5 girls and myself, 6 kids.
Where did you fit in the lineup?
I was oldest.
Okay, at least you're in charge of something.
I was always the one that the girls would go to mom and dad and go, "Hey, mom, hey, dad, Robert's doing this again." And I'd always get in trouble.
Yeah, well, you're the oldest, right?
And I had no brothers to back me up.
See.
But anyway, so I knew that college probably wasn't going to work out all that well for me because mom and dad couldn't afford. Couldn't afford to send me to college. But fortunately, about an hour away was the Technical Institute that offered broadcasting. And in Minnesota at the time, if you were a high school graduate from a Minnesota high school, you could go to a Technical Institute tuition free.
Oh, that's good.
I tell people that I actually made money going to school because they still gave me a $40 scholarship.
Interesting. Very interesting, yes.
So anyway, I spent 2 semesters there, was about to go back for a third, but during that summer, the radio station in town, and again, remember, there's 1,500 people, and this town's got a big 5,000-watt radio station and a 3,000-watt FM. And the station manager comes to me and wants to know if I would be willing to go to work. And be on the air.
How did they know about you? From the school?
Probably from the school.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I spent the summer and called my instructor and I said, "Hey, they want me to work here." And he said, "Don't worry about it. We'll just call it your work study and you'll graduate next May."
Nice.
So I did, went to work. That's actually where I first started sportscasting.
So that was your first gig, was sportscasting?
My first gig was on air.
Okay.
I was the evening jock, for lack of a better term, spinning records and all that kind of stuff. But during that time, the guy who was doing sports, doing the high school basketball and football games, decided that he wanted to go to Bible college in Seattle, Washington. So he was going to leave. And they came to me and said, "Hey, we know that you've done sports in school and want to know if you'd be interested in doing the play-by-play."
Yeah. Right place, right time.
And I said, "Well, let me think about it." No.
Sure.
So here I am about a year and a half after graduating from my high school, and I'm doing my high school's basketball games on a fairly good-sized radio station at the time. And I'm going, wow,
that had to seem pretty exciting.
It was.
Yeah.
It was.
So I want to ask you something real quick. So as you obviously had this interest early on in your life with announcing, broadcasting, et cetera, was there any kind of influences? Was there an individual out there or individuals that you looked at and you're like, "Man, I would like to emulate this person or that person"?
No, not really. It goes back again to the dream that I wanted to be in broadcasting.
Okay.
Like I said, I spent time in my car and dreaming.
So like Walter Cronkite, those guys, or I don't know, David Letterman.
Those are the type. David Letterman, maybe not so much now, but then, when he had the night show. But
sure,
yeah. But I would be watching Huntley Brinkley. I would be watching Cronkite.
Yeah.
Frank Reynolds, I believe it was, and I'd be right there watching the 5:30 news.
That's what I was wondering. Like Casey Kasem, was that like an influence?
I would listen to Casey Kasem. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And just anybody, anybody. But again, going back to that, I want to be in broadcasting.
Sure.
Yeah,
sure.
Some people are going to go farm. Some people are going to go do this. Some people are going to move to Minneapolis and start this career, that career, whatever. I didn't know where I was going to end up, but I wanted to be in broadcasting.
You knew that from the beginning.
Yeah.
Was that a large group of individuals? I wouldn't imagine in Minnesota that had that kind of a dream or thought.
No, probably not that many.
You're a bit of a unicorn.
Without the nose.
Right, exactly.
It was just one of those, and I guess it's one thing that I probably, looking back on, should have probably had a little wider, diverse career selection. If this doesn't work, then this.
Yeah.
But I'm one of those who was pretty well driven to go, this is what I want to do.
Yeah.
This is what I want to do. And I had the opportunities. I, stayed with my aunt and uncle up in Thief River Falls where the school was located at. So I was able to stay with them. I didn't have to put out a ton of money. We have, career techs here, and we have Delta Tech, and I'm the biggest fan of those people. I truly believe that there's more than one way to get your education, especially if you know exactly what you want to do. I have nothing against liberal arts college. If that's your thing, go for it.
Oh, trades are a big deal.
You can be an auto mechanic and make probably 5 times as much money as I make.
I mean, it doesn't take long to get an education in certain career fields.
Correct.
And make a really good living, to be honest
Correct.
with you.
So don't be dissing somebody who wants to go to a tech school. Or
Absolutely not.
Don't be dissing somebody who wants to go right to work, because they already have decided this is what their career path is
Absolutely.
going to be. And sadly, that was mine.
Yeah. Well, so then there's also this thing that I talk about, because me being a teacher, I'm always trying to help motivate or inspire, or at least give some thought to my students about their paths in life. And that is, if you pursue your passion, chances are you'll live a happier, fuller life rather than pursuing a paycheck. The paycheck will be there when you find your passion, and I promise you'll live a happier life. The dollar will never satisfy a person as much as doing the thing they feel they've been called to do.
Career teacher in high school always told us, make sure that you're enjoying what you're doing. If you don't enjoy what you're doing, don't do it anymore.
It's torture. I mean, there's a moment where you have to do what you have to do to get ahead. And I understand that. And I've done those jobs. But the whole time I'm doing those jobs, I'm thinking about where I'm trying to get to. I'm not stuck there thinking I'm a victim of circumstance forever. It's like I'm doing these moments so I can get to these things I want to do later. And I teach that to my students all the time. It's like if you get into something, you find that it's really not for you, there's no shame in redirecting your path and chasing that thing that you really do love. So as you get into this first year of announcing for your high school after you've graduated, how long does that go on? And then what's the next step? What happens next to Bob?
Well, the next step to me was after 2 years, I thought it might be time to, look at other markets to try and go elsewhere. So I end up in International Falls, Minnesota.
Okay. How far is that from home?
About 3 hours.
It's a little bit of a trip then. It's like going from here to past Jackson, Mississippi.
Correct.
It's a little trip.
Correct.
All right. So what are you doing there?
I'm the news director. I'm the sports director. I do play-by-play for the high school and community college hockey team, and also for their basketball teams. JUCO did not have football up there at the time, but that kind of kept me busy. And it's also where I found my wife.
Oh, at that school, or was it a school?
At the high school.
At the high school, yeah.
International Falls High School, Falls High, and Rainy River Community College.
Interesting.
And she was a waitress at an ice cream bar and grill.
I was about to ask if she was a teacher, so she was an ice cream.
No.
Like those parlors they had back in the day.
Yeah, she was going to school. She was going to community college.
Okay.
But she was also working at what was called Bridgman's ice cream, and I would play. And obviously, my body skill set here is not conducive to playing basketball anymore. But at the time, I did play a little basketball, and we'd have a church league, and we'd play ball, and then afterwards, the guys would go to Bridgman's, have a malt or a meal or whatever, and Gene would come up and we started talking, and we just started talking. Later, I happened to come back and I happened to notice that my chocolate malt size was a little bit bigger.
Oh, you a little favoritism.
Well, that's what it ended up being. I didn't know that at the time.
Sure.
I didn't know that at the time. But apparently the other waitresses, they know, well, that's Gene's boyfriend, so you may not, don't be serving him.
So you were her boyfriend before you knew?
Well, no. That's what it all became.
That's what it became.
That's what it became.
Yeah.
And later we'd go back and we'd go, have a meal and a malt at Bridgman's again. And I turned to her and I say, they've really kind of skimped on the chocolate malt now. They don't make as much as they used to. And she just kind of gave me that wry smile and go, that was just kind of a special thing, so.
So you didn't even know all that time.
I didn't know at all that time.
That's funny.
But I was the morning man at the radio station, and we did this thing, just kind of let you know about my dating, how I was dating her, along with, going to her church and hanging out and doing different things. But for instance, in the morning we had this thing called Weather Prophet, and it was a game. And we'd have people, send a postcard in, we'll pick one out, and you can be our weather prophet for the day. We'd tell you what the forecast is going to be. We'll tell you what the temperature is at this time. Your job is to accurately predict what the noontime temperature is going to be.
Oh, that's funny.
And they make a guess. And if they guess correctly, we'd announce at noon, so-and-so won our weather prophet game today by correctly predicting that it was going to be 13 below at 12 noon today.
13 below.
Remember,
I was stuck on that number for a hot second. Wait a minute. We ain't used to that in Mississippi.
Remember, you're thinking about the icebox of the nation.
Yeah, I guess so. That makes sense.
And proud to call that.
Okay.
Anyway, I would come out of Weather Prophet, and I'd go into my next song, and I'd always say, and a very special good morning to you. That was Jean's cue that I was thinking of her and wanted to say a special hello to my girlfriend without actually saying hello to my girlfriend.
Nice.
And she said her mom would always be, why are you listening to KGHS always at 8:30 in the morning? Because Bob's going to wish me a special.
How old were you at that time?
Oh, about 20.
All right, so I always want to take this second for a quick public service announcement. Young people out there, take notes. This is how you court a lady. Get off the phones texting and Instagramming. Do something meaningful. That's awesome, Bob. I just want that for the younger generation. Put a stamp on it for a minute.
Oh, I could tell you stories.
Yeah, I'm sure. Absolutely. I mean, but how awesome is that?
Yeah.
It's just something subtle, but it's a memory. It's a stamp in time for sure.
Yep.
So how long does this courtship go on before all of a sudden it develops?
Well, it continued, and I was there for maybe about 2-3 years, and then it became a long-distance relationship.
Oh, so you got moved again.
I moved again. Okay. I moved 6 hours away, another town in Minnesota, Wilmer, and we're staying in touch, and we had this neat little way of staying in touch because the radio station I worked at in Wilmer had what's called a Watts line, in-state Watts line, that was free. This is before cell phones, people. So
nothing so easy.
This is not in your circle.
No,
but I figured out a way. To patch and use the Watts line from the radio station from my home, have somebody at the station patch me in so that I could call my girlfriend up in International Falls.
And it wouldn't be long distance.
How about
that? So you guys don't know about that either, but that's true.
Right. That's another thing.
Yeah.
And we'd spend Sunday afternoons 3-4 hours on the phone and everything. And there was also this thing called party lines. Do you remember party lines?
I do remember party lines.
Yeah, this is, again, not in your circle for a lot of people.
This is pre-2000s.
Yes, exactly. There'd be about 7 or 8 different homes on a party line. Mm-hmm. And if you're on your phone and part of that party line, nobody else can use that phone.
No, it's shut down.
It's shut down. Mm-hmm. And we'd be gabbing, talking, or just doing really silly stuff, for a better part of a Sunday afternoon. And we'd hear this click, 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 click. It was others on the party line trying to get on and finding out, that Lindstrom girl and her boyfriend are back on the phone again.
They didn't even have call interruption back then.
No. And they had to be so happy when we got married.
So how long did you guys date?
A couple of years. Finally, we got married. I tell people I pay the government one day and I pay my wife the next because we were married in mid-April, April 16th, in International Falls, Minnesota, and people are going, why are you getting married in April up that far north? Well, the day was like 75 degrees, sunny. I actually had a little bit of a sunburn because I went to watch a high school baseball game that afternoon ahead of time. And it was just a great day, and we moved down to central Minnesota, down to Wilmer.
So you got married on the 16th, and on the 17th you were in that radio station.
That's when we went to Winnipeg.
Oh, okay. That's what I'm talking about. Y'all visited that radio station on your honeymoon.
KY58.
See, I'm paying attention here.
Oh, thank you.
My teachers are like, how is this possible? He never did that in school. This is weird.
And this is without closed captioning, folks.
Exactly. That's true. This is all in the memory bank for a minute, so it's good.
And so anyway, from there, I go, just kind of wrap this up a little bit, then we lived in Wilmer. My boys were born in Wilmer. After about 5 years, we moved to Kansas.
What part?
Southeast, Coffeyville.
Yeah, okay. I know where that is.
Yep, okay. And did their football, basketball, and also jocked, for the radio station there. And then from there, we got a little homesick, wanted to get closer to home. And from there, we moved up to Sioux City, Iowa. And spent better part of 25 years going Sioux City to Waterloo, then back to Sioux City. And about that time, I started doing hockey play-by-play. And
so let me ask you a quick question before you get to the hockey part, because I'm curious, like when you're bouncing around, you're going to Kansas, going back to Minnesota, going to Iowa, how do people find out about you? I mean, like, because back then it's not as easy as you can't just sign up for Indeed.com. You got to figure out how to get a job application and have opportunities.
You got to put in the work.
You got to do some work.
Yeah. Pre-computer, I was punching out resumes left to right. To send one that eventually got to International Falls, for instance.
Okay.
And I also found out about talent agencies, and that's what got me down to Kansas. And they helped get me the job in Kansas, and then from their fee, they were able. The station basically paid them a fee for like the first 6 months or whatever like that.
Yeah, that's a big part of the story here, because in today's market, if you will, if you have a skill set and you have a little notoriety, you could put your name in a lot of circles all across the nation and internationally if it's something that fits that. So for you back then, man, you really had to kind of take some flyers on some stuff. And then when you're taking those jobs, it's probably limited knowledge of what you're actually stepping into at that moment, because you can only do so much research.
Reading the trades, reading the ads, answering a lot of help wanted ads type thing, getting talent agencies involved, punching out a lot of resumes again, because they're not going to look real good about copied resumes. You've got to type them out.
Back in the day.
And that was a typewriter, people. Another thing that you're not probably
This is all foreign material. Yeah, the crowd that's listening knows this. Yeah. They're up there, because that's the typewriter stuff. That's pre-2000. That's in the 90s was whenever that started phasing out. So pre-90s. God, it was a different game.
Yeah. But you took the means that were available.
Sure.
And you took advantage of all the means that were available. Today, the means that are available include audio clips that you can email off instantly. You have Indeed. You have LinkedIn. You have this, that, the other way. There's so many, but you still got to take advantage of it all. You've got to jump in the water and go after it. You've got to be a marketer. You've got to be your own marketer.
That's right.
And be proud to say it. Don't worry about people thinking that you're too forward or something like that, because how are you going to know or get people to know that you're out here? Here I am.
That's right.
Here I am. I've got talent. I've got skill set. I've got a desire. Go for it. And that.
Organic nature is difficult unless you stay in the same area for a period of time. You do the same thing for a long time.
Right.
Otherwise, you're right. You have to really put yourself out there, and it doesn't matter what the job market is or what it is that you're trying to pursue. So then when you move back to Minnesota and you get involved in hockey, I know that story eventually leads you to being down here in Mississippi, which is an ironic twist in itself, the fact that you're coming to Mississippi with hockey. So take us to that part where you start into the hockey journey.
All right. Well, there's such a thing as junior level hockey, 16 to 20-year-old. The league that I covered first in Sioux City and then in Omaha was probably the most recruited junior league in the country. They called it Tier 1 junior. You have Junior A, B, C, and you have Tier 1. And this is the league that probably has the most NHL National Hockey League and Division I college recruits showing up at just about every game looking at their talent. So this is really good hockey. Mm-hmm. There are fewer now because when I left and came down here, it was 2008. But I still watch an NHL game or two and go, oh, here's so-and-so. He used to play in Des Moines. Or here's Peter Stastny. He played with us for the Lancers. So-and-so. I remember Blake Wheeler. He played in Green Bay and those kind of things. And so anyway, working first in Sioux City and then 6 years working with the Lancers. And I would travel with the team. I would produce and announce the radio games for a radio station. And we did everything, 60-some games. For the Lancers. And then also I took on the added responsibility of punching out pregame notes. You go to a game as a broadcaster or a writer, a sports writer, you usually get notes ahead of time. So-and-so is doing this and so-and-so is doing this and tonight's game is going to be about this, and this. And so I would take I wasn't getting paid any extra for it, but everybody else was sending me good stuff. I thought I'd help reciprocate and do the same for him. So I produced game notes because it also helped me prep as far as what I might have to say during the course of a broadcast. Mm-hmm. So we started doing that. And after about 6 years, I found out that the Mississippi River Kings were looking for a new media coordinator. And it was about that time I said, okay, here's my shot. Here's my shot at the pros. And it's double A. It's not the NHL.
Right.
But it is
still pros.
But it is still pros.
Sure,
I'm still
it is.
going to pray for it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I applied. And so we're in the course of our playoffs, and they're looking at my stuff, and they want to set up an interview, want to bring me down, and I'm going, well, we're still in our playoffs right now. I can't go just yet, and wait until after the playoffs are over, and we end up winning the championship.
So the playoffs went on for a minute.
Yes. It went on for a minute or two.
Yes.
But finally, the season ended. We won the national championship, and then I was able to come down here. They flew me down. We did interviews and things like that with my wife came along as well to check it all out. And then it was like about a day or two later, they offered me the job as a media coordinator. And what
did that entail?
Doing number one, doing the radio broadcast, producing, doing some interviews. When I was the main media contact, if so-and-so TV station wanted to do an interview with Stoddard, for instance, or Steve Margison or one of the other players, I'd be the one helping to set that up. I would be involved keeping records and keeping notes and the statistics and everything. There were some league responsibilities. I had to submit stuff for the league. I had to maybe nominate players for Player of the Week and things like that. So it was a full-time gig. Yeah. It was a full-time gig.
Had a lot of different irons in the fire, it sounds like. Steve Margison, I heard you say that name. It's funny. He's a firefighter here in Hernando.
Yeah, I know.
I figured you did. Yes, it's an interesting fact. So did he go on beyond the days of...
No, I don't recall. I don't think so.
Yeah.
Because he kind of settled here. His wife works in the school district. And like you say, he's a firefighter.
His daughter and my daughter are in the same grade. So, yeah.
Yep.
Actually, I think she may be a year younger. But
yeah. And I know a few others. There's a few others that have chosen to settle down here. And here I am, too.
And here you are. And I'm assuming he probably came from the north.
Margie?
Yeah, because Margison's not a
they're all
southern
Canadian.
name.
Yeah.
I would imagine. Okay, so I've only spoke to him briefly a few times, being on the fire department grounds and talking to folks. But yeah,
Stoddard's another one from around here, and he's also from Canada.
All right,
So they're all great guys.
So they are, absolutely. And so then you jump into, by the way, just one other quick plug for the Margisons. His wife also does pictures, so she's done our pictures once with the family. I don't know. It's the day that my wife comes in and says, "You're wearing this, let's go." And I just do it. I just do those things, Bob.
Smart man.
I try to keep my life simple.
You are a smart man.
Yes, I don't want to get put up against the glass, if you know what I mean. So, hockey reference.
Cross-check.
I want to get cross-checked to be in the penalty box because that's bad area for me.
That's a double minor
That's
on you.
That's a double minor. So here you are. You're announcing with and doing all these other activities for the River Kings, how long does that tenure last?
About 3 years.
Okay.
It was about the time they changed from the Central Hockey League to the Southern Professional Hockey League. And they kind of, I think, budgetary and everything just kind of eased out the position. And here I am looking for work. I don't want to move. Yeah. But here I am working, and it ended up that I took a weekend part-time job as an assignment editor at one of the TV stations here, ABC 24, actually. And that kind of grew into a producer's job. I'd never been trained as a television news producer, and after a while, it started the show. But for about a year and a half, I produced weekend news and also produced some of the daily newscasts for ABC 24 and CW 30. But it kind of got into what you were talking about earlier about enjoying what you do and liking what you're doing. Because, like I said, I wasn't trained. I knew how to stack a newscast. I mean, I would about flip out if a live shot wasn't working 2 minutes before airtime, because then I had to figure out, what do we do now?
I could feel the pressure on that.
Oh,
just
that
hearing
last
you say
hour.
It.
Oh, I tell you, that last hour, 6 o'clock newscast, 5 and 6. All right, are you ready? Are you ready? You're not ready? Come on, I got to have you as a lead. Yeah, type of thing, and it did start to wear on me. Yeah, I didn't notice it at the time. I was, making probably twice as much as I'd ever made in my life and enjoying that. But I would come home after my week, and Gene could see how it was hitting me. Yeah. And the stress and everything like that. And so finally, after about a little over a year, I think we kind of came to a mutual agreement. This was probably...
So you did that job for about a year?
For about a year or so.
Yeah. Uh-huh. So, and that's such... I'm glad that you shared that, because that goes hand in hand with what we started the conversation with, and that is, if you chase a paycheck, it doesn't mean that you're going to be happy. Now, I will tell you, there's nothing wrong with getting paid well to do what you love. Right. That's the ultimate goal. But if you're not happy with where you are and what you're doing, it takes such a physical and mental toll on you. It's not worth it. There's no amount of money that's ever worth that.
And you may not know about it at the time like me.
It's a great point.
I just know there were days when I'm going the night before I have to go back to work, and I dreaded it. Mm-hmm. I dreaded it.
That's how you know it's starting to get in the area that you're not healthy.
If you're listening to yourself.
If you're listening to yourself, that's a great point too. Absolutely. Yeah, because sometimes you will write it off. You'll think maybe this is just a phase that you're going through, or this moment, and it'll get better, or whatever it is. I'm correlating all this for the listeners as well, because I want folks to always understand something. There's nothing wrong with going through a period of time that's stressful. There's nothing wrong with pursuing a dream that has stress involved. But the bottom line does come back to quality of life. And if you're not happy with who you are and where you're going, then it does take that courage to reevaluate your situation and maybe redirect your pathway in life. And clearly, it helps when you have someone on the outside looking in, because you're right. What you just said is so true for so many. They may be caught up in a moment where they are spiraling and they can't see it themselves. And it takes that person close to you to say, hey, look, this may not be working out for you. Maybe you should take a step back and let's reevaluate our situation. And it sounds like that was, you married well.
I married well.
I mean, you knew she gave you big malts. How
That's right.
You had no idea at the time she was going to give great life advice too, maybe.
That's right. That's right.
So you reevaluate. What happens after that?
After that, I separate from the television station, and again, a little time we're looking for work. And Rob Long, who was with the Times Tribune at the time. Okay. I had actually applied for a sales position at the Times Tribune and spoke with the sales manager, and we interviewed and chatted for a little bit. And she says, Bob, I don't think this is going to work out for you. However, Rob Long wants to talk to you. And because at the time they were in the process of separating their sports editor. They had an opening for sports. Mm-hmm. And we knew each other already from my work with the River Kings, et cetera. So we chatted, and I went in applying for a sales job. I ended up as a sports editor and a reporter for the Times.
The job chose you.
The job chose
But it probably sounds like it worked out better, because that was kind of your mojo.
Yeah, it did. It was into my wheelhouse a little bit more. So
Sure.
I started covering games again and going to meetings, going to alderman meetings, going to supervisor meetings occasionally, although that was more Rob's beat. But, general reporting, things like that. And and then Rob left because he was pursuing his ministry, and also started work with the museum, the DeSoto County Museum, where he's the curator. And
is he still there?
At the museum? Oh, yeah. Rob is changing his career focus, and they come to me and want me to become the editor. And so I'm now the editor for about a year or so until COVID hit. And in the middle of COVID, I chose to step away, retire, you might say, but enjoyed my time there, got a great experience, but retired, quote unquote, air quotes,
yes.
Because that
retirement just means transition.
Yeah.
Oftentimes.
Yeah.
So that was the case here. Obviously.
Retirement does not mean Guam and Jamaica.
Exactly. Not for everybody.
Not for everybody.
So, quick question though. All along the way, you laid some roots here, obviously, and you talked about how after the go round with the River Kings, you didn't necessarily want to move. Was there a reason why you didn't want to go back to Minnesota other than you just had roots here? Or was it the cold? Or was it the lutefisk? For those of you that don't know, y'all can look up that fish, and nobody should be eating that fish, by the way. Do not eat that fish. So, what was there a driving force to keep you here? What was the thought process there?
Well, we liked it here.
Okay.
Number one, people have been very nice to us. We've made a lot of connections. I will say that we moved here from Iowa where we had some very close connections. And if there was a sacrifice in making the move to Mississippi, we had to separate from some very close church friends, pizza friends, things like that. Yeah. And we have never regained that. Yeah. We haven't, but that's fine. But Jean does not like the hot weather. She will find ways to head north after school is out. And I've gotten to the point where I'm not real good about cold weather. I do chuckle at y'all. Remember, I said y'all now.
Yeah, you said it. It was awkward.
That's my first y'all.
It felt weird, but you got there. I'm proud of you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
That's right.
But I've gotten to the point where even though we chuckle in our heads when you all are talking about, oh, it's so cold outside. It's 20, 25 degrees outside. And we're going, you haven't been in 30 below weather.
No, I have not. I have no shame in saying that.
I wouldn't wish it on you, but we endured it.
I don't know how anybody lives through it. I don't even know how that's possible.
Because you all have endured 98, 99, 100 degrees, and we're sitting up in Bemidji, Minnesota, or wherever, and going, how do those people down south stand the heat?
Yeah, well, it's brutal, don't get me wrong, but I would much rather have it 100 than 30 below.
But it's what you're used to.
That's fact. That is fact.
It's what I spent 30, 35 years of my life building snow forts and having snow fights and driving through blizzards and things like that.
Yeah.
It's what I was used to.
You know how it is down here. A snowflake falls, everything shut down. Y'all just go home, barricade everything.
Just head for the grocery store.
Get milk, bread.
Yeah, if you can. If they haven't taken it off the shelf yet.
So I have to ask the question.
Okay,
this is the one that begs the question because I have several friends. I have family in Michigan, so it's not like I'm foreign to the North. I've got plenty of connections to the North, and it's always fascinating to me. Do you know what snow cream is? That pause tells me everything I need to know.
No.
And neither did Derek, which blew my mind because in the South, it is a coveted moment. And that is when it snows, you take the snow and you mix it with sugar, milk, and vanilla extract, and you make your own ice cream out of the snow that falls. It's like manna from heaven. And every person I've ever spoke to that's always been in snow every year, they're like, what are you talking about? Derek had no idea.
I have never heard of it.
See, there you go. So this is education part. I am a professor. Just know that, guys. I am one of those that I want to try to throw nuggets in, even though it may not have anything to do with the conversation. It had something to do with the North. So
can I
want you to ask
you
something.
This one?
Yes.
Have you ever heard of snert?
Oh, no. I've sneezed before, and it sounded like I said snert.
Where I grew up was in the Red River Valley, in North Dakota, Minnesota, and it would blow like crazy. Now, if you have barren farmland and a blizzard comes in with snow and starts blowing like 30, 35 miles an hour, it will leave what we called snert, a mixture of dirt and snow together in the ditches on the road. You'd look at the road as you're driving by and into the ditch, and there's a bunch of snert there.
Fascinating. I will use that term. We would not want to use that snow to make our snow cream with.
I would.
You're trying to find a top layer of something that was nice and clean.
Say yes.
Yeah, stay away from that. So here you are now. You have definitely evolved many times over. And before we go into your next things after COVID, I want to hold this up. So if you're on YouTube, maybe you can see this. I don't know which camera is the best one to go to. Maybe this one here. If you could see that. So this was an article that was done back in 2014, almost 11 years to the day, on the 11th of this month. It will be exactly 11 years. Okay. And that was the first time I met Bob, by the way. And he doesn't remember that, of course, because you do dozens and hundreds of stories.
If you don't have a number on the back of your shirt, I don't know who you are.
And that makes perfect sense to me. So that was the first time I had met him actually come out, and I was the Homeowners Association, and I just thought it was fascinating because since that moment, I had not come across your path again. And then recently, we were in a announcing booth together. I announced the football games for Lake Cormorant. You were up there calling the game, as I guess you move around and call different games throughout DeSoto County or wherever.
Right.
And that's how we reconnected. And then it was like, hey, you would be a great person to come on. And I just thought that was fascinating. So I wanted to bring that in. It clearly shows that you didn't write the article, and it doesn't even give you credit for the picture. But you're the only person I remember that was at my house that day. So,
well, I know the photographer, and I worked with the writer. Actually, he actually worked for the Times Tribune for a while before he moved to Florida. But Stan, the photographer, is a great photographer, great person, and he's still around here. I think he's a planning commissioner in Horn Lake now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, cool. But yeah, there's some familiar names there I saw on that story right there.
So fascinating connection we had from the deep past, 11 years ago, basically. And so here we are, 2020 hits, and let's just face it, I think this is not a stretch to say that year changed so much for so many. It was a pivotal moment in time where a lot of folks had to rethink what they were doing, or they had to hit reset. There were some businesses that thrived. There were other businesses that completely tanked. How does that play into journalism for yourself, and what was your next direction?
Well, in mid-2020, and I won't go into specifics, but the newspaper and I decided we needed to rethink our directions, I guess, for lack of a better word. And so that's where I say I, quote unquote, retired. Mm-hmm. Spent about a month, wondering, okay, what do you do now? I mean, I've got all these contacts. I know all the mayors. I know all the supervisors. I know all the coaches. I've been around these games and everything. I've got all this knowledge, and now how do I use it? What happened to come along one day, just floating on the internet, and happened to float a Facebook page for something called DeSoto County News. I'd never heard of it before, but I guess they had been around for about 4 or 5 years. And I got a hold of the guy who runs it, and we started talking, and one thing led to the other, and here I am 5 years later. I'm basically the content producer for the website, for Facebook, for Twitter. I do it all. I'm basically doing what I did for the newspaper just for somebody else now. And that, like you say, some people go to Guam or Jamaica for their retirement. Other people want to keep working.
Sure.
Because, they want, what do you want to do, once you retire? Mm-hmm. Well, this is my retirement. And I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
As long as I can keep doing it, as long as I'm still vertical every morning and I'm above sea level and all that, and I still have the wherewithal to do it, and people will let me do it, I want to do it.
Yeah.
And so that's what I'm doing.
So, Bob, don't you realize, though, that is the epitome, I think, of a satisfied life, is being at the end, I say end, but like the end of your work cycle? Because you could legitimately retire from work if that were your decision. But the reality is it's that opportunity to keep doing it because you want to, not because you have to, because I think there's a lot of value there. People, when you're young, especially in your 20s, 30s, you're building that future. So even if you didn't want to work, you kind of have to build your life. But once you get to the backside, you want it to have different meaning. And it's a lot of times the culmination of your experiences throughout life. So clearly you've had a vast array of opportunities and experience, tons of travel, tons of connections, and like you said, you've gotten down to DeSoto County, and you had all these different areas that you had networked into. You don't want to waste that and throw it away. And I'm just going to relate this to how my life evolved, being a firefighter, paramedic, having been in the military, having tons of experiences. Whenever I got injured and had to retire from the fire department, it's like you said, it was retirement with air quotes, because there was still something left in the next chapter I needed to write. And that's how I got into teaching, and the teaching led to motivational speaking, and the motivational speaking led to podcasting. So everything did evolve into something that was more meaningful than me. And I think that's the thing. You want to leave behind a legacy that's bigger than you.
Yeah. I like to tell people, we're conversing and things like that. And I'm just kind of going, here I am trying to justify my existence for today. And I also, I think John Gordon is the one who first got me onto this phrase, and that is, remember that when you're approaching something, keep telling yourself, I get to do this.
That's right.
Not I have to do this.
That's a strong mindset.
Get to do this. And that's kind of what I'm looking. I get to be on this podcast today, and I'm grateful for it. Thank you.
And I'm very honored.
I get to go to this game tonight and watch this athlete. I get to cover this particular event. Not that I don't have to. I mean, one of the nice things about what I do now is that I do have some empowerment about my time management. And if it doesn't fit into my schedule and I don't feel that the priority is high enough, I'll find other ways to cover something. But I do have that empowerment. I don't have somebody in a high corporate office saying that you've got to be here at this particular time at 10 o'clock and be able to. No, I don't have to do that. And I enjoy that. I do enjoy that flexibility, but I also am not going to lean on it and go, well, I can just take the rest of the day off. I'm not going to do that. I'm waking up in the morning. I'm spinning through the internet, finding what's going on. I start posting some things. Then I start going to some different events or whatever. Then I'll come back and I'll write a little more. And then I will go to a game or something, take a few photos and take down notes and stats and come back and write another article, put out a daily newsletter that we call, the Morning View. That's on Substack, and I make sure that gets posted. That can be posted anytime from about 9 o'clock in the evening to about 2 o'clock in the morning, as it was this particular morning, because I had spent the evening down in Jackson with Governor Reeves and First Lady Ely Reeves and members of the press corps for a Christmas reception, and they invited me to come down there. Yeah. Very cool.
Yeah, you called me on your way down there. I was like, man, that's pretty awesome getting to go down and do some Christmas time with the governor of Mississippi. And I think really it's a testament to what you just said was how you don't have to do things that you don't necessarily want to do, but the fact that you're not going to dial it in, because that's an integrity that to yourself that you owe. That's honestly where the passion comes from. A person that is doing something that they love, nobody has to tell them you need to do A, B, C, and D. And whenever D is tough, nobody has to continue to stay on top of you. D is going to get done in that order of things that need to be done. And that's the same thing for myself. That's the same thing I try to tell my students. Work hard in life and find the thing you're passionate about, because then you'll work 10 times harder to be successful at it, whatever success looks like. And nobody has to tell you. Nobody has to drive you to do it. In fact, at that point, what you start to become is you become a student all the time. You're always trying to learn more. You want to do more. And in your case, be honest, you've been doing this for how many years now, broadcasting?
Well, 1973 was when I took the air for the first time.
So 50 plus years, 52 years. I bet you still learn things.
Oh, I
bet you still come across something you've probably never thought about or seen.
Learn new experiences.
All the time.
All the time. And that's one of the things that I love about traveling, for instance. When I moved to Iowa, I wanted to learn all about Iowa.
Yeah.
Other than it's that Hawkeye thing, you know. And, and then I moved to Kansas. and had never been in Kansas before. One of the nice things about what I've done is that I grew up, and about the only trip that I ever took as a kid was the 6-hour drive that my parents and the 6 kids packed up and went down to visit my aunt and uncle for a week on vacation. That was our vacation. And went back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Outside of 2 times, I was part of a vocal ensemble in high school that joined the band, the high school band. We did a band trip and went and played schools in Winnipeg. So I'd been in Winnipeg already, but we, we would do concerts. And so my trip to Winnipeg and my trip to Minneapolis, and that was about anything, all that we could do. Yeah. So one of the, when we got married, Gene says, "You are going to travel, aren't you?" And I said, "Well, of course I will. I want to travel." Here's my bride who had already been out to Banff and been up into Alaska probably, and all these different places with her parents because they traveled, and she wanted to keep traveling. So it's like the first year after we got married, we went to Mount Rushmore, and I'm going, "Oh my gosh, we're in Mount Rushmore!" Yeah. And then the next year we're going to be in Seattle. We go out to Seattle, and as we hit Montana, I start to see the Rocky Mountains in the distance, and I'm going, "Man, those are big." And Gene will go, "You haven't seen anything yet."
Wait till you get to Canada.
Yeah. And those kind of things. And so, but in doing that, I'm learning because I make a point. I want to learn about where I'm living. Yeah. In Kansas, for instance, one of the first days, I wanted to make sure that I sounded like I knew what I was talking about. So I had all these different town names and place names that I had to learn how to pronounce correctly. And they took me to a big but a big map, and pointed out different names of towns. And Neodesha. Some people might say Neodesha. And so, no, it's Neodesha. Here's another one. Fredonia. Arkansas City. And it's Arkansas in Kansas, by the way.
Yeah, we still say Arkansas for Arkansas.
Yeah.
we don't give them any credit.
But they tell me the story about, it's Ark City. The name of the city is along the Arkansas River that quickly and mysteriously becomes the Arkansas River once you go into Oklahoma. And then there's a town in Oklahoma that looks a lot like your favorite beach place in the south of Florida. But it's not Miami. It's Miami, Oklahoma.
Interesting.
So things like that. And I learned things like when I moved here, one of the things I knew about the Civil War history. I knew that this was the middle of the war between the states, the Civil War or whatever. And I wanted to learn as much as I could. So I learned about the Battle of Memphis, in the Mississippi River. Yep. I learned about Shiloh. We've been out to Shiloh a few times and seen the monuments, including monuments to Iowa and Minnesota Civil War veterans that are out. Got to learn that. Went down to Vicksburg, saw Vicksburg and those kind of things because I wanted to get a sense as best I could of what had gone on here. Also in the civil rights here. We go to the Civil Rights Museum. My wife twists balloons for a number of Civil Rights Museum events every year with a friend of hers. But we went through the Civil Rights Museum. Took a drive one day out to Little Rock because we knew about the integration of Central High School, and that part of it, of the whole thing, just trying to pick up things along the way. So I'm always wanting to know more. I feel somewhat at a loss because being up here in the far north of Mississippi, I don't know as much as I should know about the geography. I could probably guess where Quitman County is, but I can't pinpoint it on the map for you. I've heard of Jones. Jackson County you'd think would be in Jackson. No, it's not in Jackson. It's on the coast, type of thing. So I'm a little bit at a disadvantage there, but I'm learning along. Yeah.
Well, it's the journey. It's always the journey. The destination is the finality of something. And for me, this is not an original quote, and people have heard this, I'm sure, anywhere and everywhere. Of course, when you're born and you die, you have a date on both of those. those things, but it's always the dash. It's that center time. That's the journey of your life, and it has to be exciting. It should be exciting, I should say, and fulfilling and educational constantly, and always learning new things about yourself. And the best way to do that is to learn more things around you. And me, I am all in on that. Everything you just said, you're speaking my language. I love to travel. I love to learn about the area. We used to do family vacations like the Griswolds, and if we went to California, we drove to California. We didn't fly out there. And all along the way, I would have like a Q&A with the kids, and I'm asking them questions, and whoever got the most questions right would get $50 when we got to our destination or whatever. And so I'm all in on learning about life and learning about history, and all of that stuff definitely makes a lot of sense to me. So I want to, we're getting close to the finish line. There's a couple things I wanted to hit on real quick, if you don't mind. So first of all, I wanted to ask this. You do a lot of sports call.
Right.
Do you have a call sign? I have one. When a person hits a home run at my house, it's nobody ever sees this except my wife. My call sign is Yahtzee. So that's what I give, and only people in my living room will hear that. Do you have something you call out for a touchdown or for a home run or any of these such?
Not so much for touchdowns, but you will always hear me say when someone kicks an extra point. For instance, here's a snap, ball's down, kick is up, high enough, far enough, good enough.
Okay. So that's your repetitive nature. I like that.
Yeah.
I don't know if you heard my call on that. It's like, and the extra point is good for another 7 points for Gator Nation. It's a Gator Nation thing.
Yeah.
I've never, by the way, this was my first year ever calling football.
You did good.
The whole time I'm down there, I'm watching them. I'm like, I have no idea what that referee just did. Somebody's getting arrested. They slapped their forehead. I don't know. So there's 5 yards back.
Yeah.
I'm learning football. I watch football, but I never paid attention to the intricacies. Mm-hmm. And I've learned a lot over 1 year's time. So anyways, it was fun. It was exciting. And I always wonder about people's call signs, because Michael Kay does see ya when they hit a home run. What was the one from the White Sox? It's in Chicago. It's close to Minnesota. The guy for the White Sox, he had a call sign. Whenever they'd hit a home run. Paul Konerko used to hit them all the time, and he would say it. Paulie, I can't remember that. Anyways, I messed that up. So forget that, edit, and keep moving. All right, another quick question. Or not question, but comment. I wrote down a couple of interesting things. We had a few conversations prior to you coming in, and one of the things you shared with me I thought was pretty good. You got to share with the listeners your experience, because you've covered a lot. You've covered a lot of stuff. Sports is like probably your main thing. You got to have like a highlight moment. It's always sports, but you've done a lot of other stuff. Tell us about your Barbara Bush moment when you were covering that, because that's pretty good.
Yeah. During the time of George and Barbara Bush was promoting reading. And we were living in a small town outside of Waterloo, Iowa at the time, Dunkerton of all names. But small school. Our principal took a challenge that I guess she had put out there to read a certain number of books. And principal did that, and we succeeded. And so he wrote to Barbara Bush asking that she come and make a presentation to the kids in the school. And she agreed. She accepted. We're having Barbara Bush in our small town, about the size of Byhalia. I mean,
that's awesome.
She's going to come to Dunkerton, Iowa. Can you believe that? And here she comes. Here they come driving in with the limousine and the different black cars and everything. And there are Secret Service, of course, following her and everything like that. I'm here with the press corps. And they had taped off an area for us in the gymnasium, and this is where the press is going to be. They did not give us any chairs. We had to sit on the floor. And we had to wait and wait and wait and wait for her to make her appearance. And I'm starting to get tired. And my leg is starting to almost cramp up. And I'm sitting here near the tape. And so I look at the Secret Service agent and I go, would you mind terribly if I just stretch my leg out over the tape here for a minute just to kind of get my feeling back and everything? And he looked at me and he said, Well, you can if you want to, but it would not do you very well. I mean, it would not be good for you if you
ill-advised.
It is ill-advised. So I just kind of kept, in my spot behind the tape, waiting for her to show up and doing everything. So that was kind of fun.
Yeah. The Secret Service, I wouldn't want to mess with them either. And I watched this new show I guess it's a show. It was an episode. It was one episode of the documentary about the age of disclosure, about aliens and stuff. And they say, hey, look, the government has people show up and people do disappear. And I'm like, I believe that. I'm going to stay low. So if there's a piece of tape and they tell me stay behind it, I'm staying behind it.
I got one other quick one for you.
Sure.
My second job in radio, I'm the news director. And we're in International Falls, Minnesota. Across the river is Fort Frances, Ontario, and in Canada, of course. Prime Minister Pierre Trudeau was campaigning for re-election, and he was going to make a stop in Fort Frances. Fort Frances does not have a big enough airport to handle Pierre Trudeau's plane, but International Falls does. So he had to fly into International Falls and cross the river to get into Fort Frances. Well, at the time, they called the radio station I was working with and wanted to know if I would be interested in covering, Pierre Trudeau. And, well, of course we would.
Sure.
So it was the first time I'd ever had a background check done on me. Apparently, I passed.
Yeah,
I never got the grade.
Yeah.
I never got the report card. But here I am in the press box, and I am little Bobby Bakken, the news reporter from International Falls on the same bus with this reporter from the Toronto Star and this reporter from the Montreal Globe and Mail or whatever. And here's a reporter from the CBC and the CTV. And I've got all these big wig city people. And here I am, little small town radio guy. And I get to, I cover Pierre Trudeau. Well, years later, my mother had passed away, and we're in the process of cleaning out the house. And I'm rummaging through papers and things like this. And I happened to come across an old newspaper from International Falls. And on it, big front page picture of Pierre Trudeau in a press gaggle after his visit in Fort Frances. And here's Bob Bakken standing next to Pierre Trudeau.
Oh, how about that? And you never knew it.
Yeah, I didn't know.
Never knew you made that the newspaper.
I didn't know I had.
How about that?
And I didn't know that it meant that much to my mom and dad that they kept it.
Yeah.
And that was over about 20 years after the fact.
Wow, that is a cool story.
Right.
That is a cool story. Well, we are getting close to the finish line, Bob. I've very much enjoyed having you in here. Sports is something I could talk about all day, but at the end of it, I wanted to really know who Bob Bakken was, why he came down here from Minnesota, and then I know that you are so connected with our community, so I would be remiss if I did not allow you to speak to the North Point volleyball team, because I thought that was a fantastic story that you shared with me. So please share that with the listeners.
Okay. Well, I try to be somewhat neutral journalistically, if I can. And with my writing, I mean, you will know that I'm not going to write like a homer. I just won't. That's just the way that I was brought up. And so I want to get involved. I want to get to know the players, want to get to know the coaches, of course, mostly. I will also have a little bit of a separation. I try to be at least a little bit separated to maintain my neutrality. Mm-hmm. If DeSoto Central is playing Horn Lake or whatever, I'm not going to be cheering for one side or the other, but when DeSoto Central plays Tupelo, obviously in the back of my head, I'm going, "Come on, Jaguars, you can do it," Yeah. Although that won't show up in my writing,
sure,
and it won't show up in my broadcasting when I'm broadcasting DeSoto Central and Horn Lake either. I mean, because I do believe in journalistic ethics as best I can.
Yeah.
So anyway, but last year, I'm starting to cover the North Point volleyball team, and they start coming up to me, and without even anyone pushing them my direction. They're all going, Bob, thanks for coming. Thanks for covering us. We're really glad to see you. And it just kind of kept up through the entire year. And I followed them to Murfreesboro, and they won the state championship. Yeah. Great story there. And so we're back again this next year. And they had also given me a plaque at the end of last season that I have hanging in my office, state champs, pictures with the team and signed and everything like that. So this year, they're back doing it again. The new group, they just always enjoyed, and they're very vocal and very genuinely vocal. I mean, this is not a PR thing.
Yeah.
They're genuinely vocal about me showing up and covering their team. And we got to know the players and everything a whole lot better on the court. We come down to it's the state championship for Lake Cormorant at Mississippi College. And I'm going down there and I cover Lake Cormorant at the state champion. And by the way, there are several teams that I have some level of relationship with in the volleyball world, especially. Christina Morgan does an amazing job at Lake Cormorant. You got Hendra Hosky at Lewisburg. You've got Falatko at DeSoto Central. Burchett, when she was at Lewisburg and now at Northwest. They're great people. Mm-hmm. Kim Robinson and North Point girls became something very, very special to me. I mean, they were one of the few times that I actually let my guard down a little bit. Mm-hmm. So anyway, Christina Morgan, Lake Cormorant, they're winning their 4th straight state championship down at Mississippi College. Mm-hmm. At the same time, North Point is playing Battleground Academy at North Point in the sub-state for a chance to go back to Murfreesboro. And Battleground is the team that they beat to win the state championship last year. But the game is at North Point, but it's going on at the same time. And I went, well, I haven't learned how to clone myself for a ways yet.
Yeah, it's a tough go. Eventually.
But and I told Kim that too. I said, Kim, I'm going to be down in Clinton. I'm going to be driving back while you guys are playing. They found a picture of me that they had taken from the previous year, blew it up, became quote unquote fathead.
Yeah,
and
it's funny.
And actually set it, I guess, somewhere near their bench, so they'd have a Bob Bakken presence on the court.
Isn't that awesome? How special is that?
It is. I've got it.
Truly honored.
I've got it. The 4 seniors who signed college letters of intent, they signed the back of that thing, and I have it in my office right now.
It's so sweet whenever people endure themselves to you, and you realize it's genuine, and it's a real connection in time. And I'm a big advocate for pushing for those moments and not letting them pass you by. Whenever you have a moment that's special to you, recognize it. And boy, was that a special moment.
It was. And I just really appreciate it. Again, I talk about it was genuine.
Yeah.
I can tell the difference between PR. We're doing this. We're going to be nice to you because it's our PR, or we really care about the fact that you're here and taking an interest in us. And that's what I got from North Point.
I'm just relating this because it's so true. I get people that will comment on a thread and they're being very kind and nice. And I'm not saying that it's not genuine, but whenever somebody sends me a personal message or a DM and they're telling me about a message that I delivered or a speech I gave and how that impacted them, and I know that's just a me and them conversation, it really is special to me.
Right.
It's not to say that other people's kind comments on a public forum is not special, but when you take the time to send me something that is heartfelt and I know it was a real connecting moment, that really means a lot to me as well. So I definitely get where you're coming from.
That's not going to say I think any less of anybody else.
Absolutely not.
I don't, and I won't.
Yes.
But in this particular,
you just recognize it's different.
This was different.
Sure.
This was really different.
And there's nothing wrong with recognizing that.
Yeah.
So, Bob, we are at the end. I love to leave a few minutes for my guest to impart any words of wisdom, thoughts, anything that you want to add that maybe we didn't cover. So, sir, I'm going to give you the microphone. Do Bob Bakken the best Bob that you can do.
First off, I have to think about my wife because she has had to put up with a lot of nights being alone at home. She's the one sitting watching television. she has found her way into other things, she is a very talented balloon twister, and that's another story for another day.
Yeah, she said she went to clown college and everything, which is really
she went
fascinating.
to clown college.
Gotta have her in here to talk about that.
Yeah, but she knew going in what the deal was going to be, and she is very much accepted. She's like a coach's wife, but in her case, she couldn't travel the 300 miles for me to broadcast a game. She's raising 2 boys. She's doing her thing. So very genuinely like to thank Jean for she's about to retire from school. She's been in first special ed and now first grade teacher's assistant for a total between Iowa and Mississippi of about 25 years that she's done.
Nice.
I like to say that she's the only one who's been able to keep a job since we moved here because she got hired at Pleasant Hill Elementary School, and she has been at Pleasant Hill Elementary School, and she's about to leave Pleasant Hill at the end of the school year. So thank you for her. We were talking before on some different things, and I think the one thing, first off, I want to thank DeSoto County, Northwest Mississippi. I think by and large, your welcome to me has been amazing compared to and I've lived in a lot of different places, but the welcome, the connection. Obviously, I'd like to know more about people. I want to take that connection to the next step, maybe. But by and large, the hospitality. You all talk about Southern hospitality here.
It's real,
and it's real. It is really here. We've enjoyed our time here. We have certainly talked about once we get to this point, do we leave? Right now, I don't think we would. I think we'd stay here. I think you're stuck with us. I'm sorry about that. But the other thing that you wanted to, we were talking about, and I think, we've talked about dreams today. We've talked about people's dreams. And I would say set a dream. Decide what you want to do. Decide the difference that you're going to make in your life, and then start pursuing it. The dream doesn't come to you. You have to go to the dream.
Yeah.
But at the same time, once you get to the dream, it may not be the dream that you thought it was going to be, and that's okay. But then you go on to the next thing, or maybe that next thing is different than what you thought it was going to be, but it's okay. So I would just say you set a course in life, you set your dream, you go after your dream, you pursue the dream. The dream's not going to come to you. You've got to go after the dream. But when you get to the end of that road, you may have to take another road. And that's okay. That's okay. As I say, I'm justifying my existence today. Yeah. And I wake up every day saying, I get to do this today. And I'm going to justify my existence as long as I'm north of sea level, standing vertical. And the last I checked, the blood was still pumping.
That's right.
So I will continue to do this as long as they'll let me, or as long as I feel I can be a part of the community.
Outstanding. Bob, look, I tell you what, you've had an impact, and oftentimes we will never know just how big of an impact we have on this earth, but know that you've impacted people's lives in a very positive way. You've left a legacy. You're continuing to leave a legacy. And I think purpose is often seen after a person's gone. That's why whenever people go to the funeral, they talk about this or that, whatever they were known for. In the end, I just want to be known as a good person that left people in a better place than where they started. And sir, I would dare say you are doing that on a daily basis.
Okay, can you record all this,
yes,
all this legacy stuff so I can hear it before I actually go?
Yeah, this is it. I'm telling it to you now. So consider this your early eulogy. Right. Look, one thing I've always said is I want to make sure I cover the things that were important to me. So maybe I need to pre-record my own eulogy.
Yeah.
I don't know. Because at the end of it, I'm like, you know what? Maybe that's too controlling. But man, I just really want to have an impact, a positive
Coach
impact
Camp
on people.
Coming from the clouds.
You would be a great announcer on that. Well, Bob, thank you so much for spending part of your day down here at the studios, being able to tell part of your story. And I look forward to working with you again in the communications booth down at Lake Cormorant, Mississippi.
There you go. All right.
Thank you. Thank you guys for tuning in each and every single week. I love you guys. Look, without you, this is just me and Bob talking in a studio, but this message is meant for all of you out there. So obviously tune in every week. Tell your friends. I'm going to ask you, go to my website, motivatewithcoachcamp.com, subscribe to my YouTube, and until next time, Coach Camp. Camp out.
I love the chase and the hunt, and I set the pace when I'm running. I always take what I want and I always give it 100. Don't need a bank, no I'm funded. Play the game like it's nothing. I'm always thankful for something. Don't take for granted, stay humble. Now wake up, it's time to look at the enemy. Look in the mirror if he is no friend to me. It's not working out, maybe it's the chemistry. It's time to break up so I can make a better me. Better believe in your mind, cause it's everything. You can mold, shape,